can you help us by explaining a little bit about the theory behind the sense of belonging?
Yeah, I can. Thanks, Viv. So let's just begin by anchoring ourselves in that question at the heart of this session. Why does belonging matter so much? And it matters because it underpins everything else. Belonging, as we've mentioned already, it's not that soft extra or that nice to have when there's time. It's the foundation of motivation, attendance, engagement, and ultimately learning. So there's a psychologist called Roy Baumeister and Mark Leary. They describe the need to belong as fundamental human motivation. And in their view, our desire for acceptance and connection, well, it's hardwired as our need as much as our need for food or for sleep. And when that need is unmet, the psychological impact is deep. And for children and young people in school, in our settings, this can show up in all kinds of ways. And we see it in the pupils who become invisible, even. What about the ones who act out or rarely speak? Those pupils who push back against authority or who try desperately to be what they think others want them to be. And beneath all of that is the same unspoken question: do I matter here? And belonging is the answer to that question, but it's not delivered in a single gesture. It's communicated repeatedly in hundreds of small moments. And it's not something that we announce, it's something we embed. And this matters even more for children and young people who are neurodivergent or have additional needs, or care experienced, or belong to minoritized groups. If your identity is not reflected in your environment, your curriculum, or your relationships, belonging becomes harder to access. So Valerie Purdy-Vaughan's research into identity safety cues shows us that the physical environment itself can signal whether or not a young person belongs. So when a pupil sees books or posters or messages that affirm their identity, their nervous system registers safety. And when these cues are absent, the child or the young person may begin to question whether they're fully accepted. So again, thinking about the Education Endowment Foundation, they stress that the building belonging requires a whole school approach, that it isn't just the job of pastoral staff or Senkos. It's in the culture, the curriculum, the relationships, and the expectations we uphold. And when a child or young person believes that felt experience that they belong, their brain functions differently. They're more able to engage with learning, take healthy risks, and form meaningful relationships. And we also know that from polyvagal theory that belonging is felt in the body. It can't be forced through logic or discipline. When a pupil feels safe and welcome, their nervous system shifts into a regulated state, and this is what creates the internal conditions for learning. Without this, we're just trying to teach through a fog of stress. So when we talk about belonging, we're not talking about something optional. We're talking about the conditions that make education possible. And you, as practitioners, and all of us, have enormous influence through how we welcome, include, notice, and respond. And, that you become the evidence that a child needs to believe that they're wanted. And these small acts aren't actually small at all. They're the framework of belonging. So as we go further into the session, hold on to this. Belonging isn't built in one big moment. It's built in 100 small ones. And the impact of those small moments lasts a lifetime.